Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
Highlights of the third round of the WGC Cadillac Championship. Rory McIlroy, Adam Scott in the final group from the very first hole. McIlroy on point.
Short of the par 5 in 2 and not a whole lot of green to work with. And he cut the legs right out from underneath it. What a way to start the day.
One hole, one shot made up on the overnight leader Adam Scott playing alongside. Here's Adam at the fourth.
Just in an awful position. That little pitch shot there was spectacular. Choking it down all the way to the middle, having to hit it with a good foot above his feet, standing into the bunker, and to have that kind of touch and control was just spectacular.
But you got to finish up for par, and just narrowly skates by on the right side, so he drops a shot there. All of a sudden, McIlroy and Scott are tied after 4. Rory at the 5th.
The wind was coming slightly out of the right, and the whole location was on the right, and you can see by his finish that he was trying to flight a nice, high, soft cut to this back right hole location. He just couldn't draw it up any better.
And then the putter we've talked so much about, left-hand low. David, you talked about how so many of these were no doubters.
Yeah, you could see that. That might have just missed the center of the hole. You could watch it as round progressed. Rory's getting more and more comfortable.
Meanwhile, Scott tried to bounce back.
Well, it was a day of some slightly missed shots. This not one of them, but some missed opportunities. And that most certainly was one of them, because it looked like it would almost certainly make eagle. But he failed to capitalize on the putt, which we'll see in just a second. Meanwhile, Rory McIlroy once again out of the bunkers with a beautiful shot there and a great conversion.
Both would make birdie. McIlroy goes to 11 under, moved to 10 now, putting for birdie.
And here we go again. Giving him a weapon in that putter, and it's just hard to catch up to him.
Is there a better player with a 3-wood than Rory McIlroy?
Well, there is on this hole. But not, and maybe Adam Scott, who was playing alongside of him, they could go neck for neck. But there's one place you don't want to miss it at the 12th at the hole location today, and that's right where he missed it, compounded by, and you can see that gear effect turning that club over quickly. He left it in the bunker, and then this poor save. Cross-handed puts his right arm in more of a passive position and puts the putter head in a better position, going more down the line and less to the left than it used to be.
Meanwhile, Scott second.
As good as his second shot was on the 8th hole, this is just incredible.
Okay, is there a better fairway bunker player in the world than Adam Scott?
Well,
on this one,
on
no.
that one.
Okay, fair enough.
So he makes birdie there. Adam Scott back to 10 under, just 2 back of Rory. Scott now at 16 for birdie.
Yeah, up and over the slope here. Really got to watch the speed. Oh, that looked like it was going to just go down for him, and just a nasty lip out.
And how did that go in? Tap in par, remains at 10 under, remains 2 back to 17.
Ordinarily a marvelous bunker player, greenside bunker player, I should say. Today, well, he wasn't quite up to snuff. He hit it in 4, and he only got it up and down 1 time.
Wouldn't make bogey there, Adam Scott, so he goes to 9 under. McIlroy now at 18.
Where's your toolbox when you need it? And off he goes. It was a little loose. He's allowed to do this because it came loose in the normal course of play. Out comes the wrench. Tighten it up.
Well,
and
as hard as he's going to swing it, this one,
right.
make sure it's tight.
I don't know how, yes, exactly. I don't know how it wouldn't come loose. Super glue, nuts and bolts. And that, folks, was the longest drive of the day on the 18th hole that found the fairway, 324 yards.
Right down the middle.
Following that beautiful tee shot up with the unexpected. Flaring it out to the right, bad spot, tough bunker shot with the green running away from you.
One of his 5 missed greens today, hit 13 in regulation, but as we said, just didn't miss inside 10 feet. It was Spieth-esque the way how comfortable he looked inside 10 feet. They were just no doubters. You never thought for a minute that he was going to miss that putt, and he didn't. Only player in the field without a bogey on a day in which the Blue Monster did show its teeth for the first time. The course much more difficult today for a variety of reasons than it had been in round 1 and 2. And as we said, McIlroy now with the 54-hole lead. He is 6 for 8 in his career, closing out those leads. We take a look Last time around was 2015, and we all know he went on to win there, so he looks to go for 4 consecutive now. And as we said, every 54-hole lead is made a little bit different. The average on the PGA Tour, 4 out of every 10 54-hole leaders go on to win the golf tournament. 4 out of 10. Obviously less than 50%. However, when it's a 3-shot lead, that goes to 60%. 6 out of 10. You throw the name Rory McIlroy on there, you have to believe it's even higher than that. What impressed you most about McIlroy in the bogey-free round?
Well, what he did around the greens, in the bunker, and certainly on the greens, as you've already alluded to. He has so many obvious gifts, tee to green. It is, and he wins so often in so many major championships, that it is pretty easy sometimes to overlook the few holes that are in his game. But they are around the greens and in the bunker. If you take a look at this statistic, you can see, in spite of this, he is, one of the greatest players in the world, formerly #1, 4 major championships. But you can see scrambling, 127, sand saves only about 30%. And this is nothing new. This is going all the way back, and is one of the reasons I think that he has from time to time struggled around Augusta National. But if you were watching today, this was not Rory McIlroy. If you saw this graphic and you watched today, you'd say these are not the same players. Again, he averages, his proximity to the hole out of the sand is 11 feet. At the first hole, short-sided, that was 4 feet 1 inches. Over the back of the green, not the easiest pitch shot here. You can see it sitting down. It's always a bit of guesswork coming out of the Bermuda rough. And again, he averages chipping, proximity to the hole, 10 feet of chip, 10 feet. It's one of the reasons he struggles in scrambling. How about 1 feet 9 inches? 1 foot 9 inches, I should say. And then, again, at the fourth, over the back of the green, did hit a beautiful iron shot in there. Unfortunately, it released and went through the back of the green. This was quite a bit better than 10 feet. And then at the 8th, when his second shot did not find the green, and understandably so, he's visited the water before, and you might err on the side of caution. Well, that bunker shot ordinarily is not a bad place to be, but again, quite a bit better than 11 feet. How about 2 feet 7 inches? And then at the 18th, if you remember the first round, he missed it in the water on the 9th, finishing the day. He said, coming into this week, he was going to play smarter golf. Err on the side of caution. Well, that's one of the reasons he might have favored that bunker, but it was a beautiful bunker shot. Ordinarily, as I alluded to, he's not particularly a good bunker player. He's not great around the greens. He was perfect today. 5-5 scrambling, 4 for 4 out of the bunkers, and as you've already mentioned, marvelous on the greens.
Well, the power part of his game, David, it doesn't take a break. It's always there. The other parts of his game, the ups and downs, and obviously when he wins and wins majors by record margins, probably all parts of his game were in form that week. That's why you win a U.S. Open and a PGA by record numbers. When you look at what he's doing now, 16 of 17, or 17 of 18 inside 10 feet, 5 for 5 scrambling, as Brandel just alluded to, and you know the power that travels. How do you beat Rory McIlroy?
Well, it's going to be hard tomorrow. I can say that. The thing that, to go along and kind of add to what you were talking about, Brandel, is that as you become much more comfortable and that much more confident with your putter and you get some freedom, well, now how do you feel about that short-sided bunker shot? It gives you freedom there.
Great point.
I can make it from 6 or 7, 8 feet, and all of a sudden you loosen back up, your hands relax a little bit, and you hit golf shots like you would in practice. And so it all feeds on each other at some point, and that creates a lot of relaxation from tee to green. So all of a sudden when you're freeing up a player who's already dominant off of the tee, and he knows that he's going to be that much more efficient around the greens, well, the package becomes very formidable at that point. And we've seen what he can do when he's firing on all cylinders. And so, watch out tomorrow, obviously. And if he stays with this putting and he's doing that well with it moving forward, this could be an amazing summer.
The narrative does sound very similar to what we had just last week with Adam Scott and what we had after 36 holes with Adam Scott. When all parts of his game are going, he too is very tough to beat. Adam Scott currently 3 back of Rory McIlroy heading into the final round. Spoke with Todd Lewis.
Thank you very much, Adam. I know you didn't quite have the performance that you were looking for, but how would you overall rate the play out there for you today?
It was a bit average today. I didn't have my best stuff, that's for sure. And just couldn't get a putt to go in. I mean, I just wouldn't go today. One of those days, unfortunately. And Rory played really good golf and got away from me a bit. So I've got my work cut out for me tomorrow now.
What do you need to do tomorrow that maybe was different to today?
Yeah, I think my rhythm and my swing was just off. It was one of those days. Don't know why. I just didn't feel as good as I have for the last couple of weeks. But hopefully, I wake up on the right side of the bed tomorrow.
Final thing, strategically, as we talk about tomorrow, does this force you maybe to be a little more aggressive on a dangerous golf course tomorrow with Rory playing as well as he is?
I don't think so. I mean, I thought I played pretty smart out there today. I just didn't take advantage of any of my good shots, unfortunately. I'm going to have to do similar tomorrow. I'm not long enough to really challenge the really long stuff out there, so I'm kind of told where to hit it a little bit.
As always, Adam, I appreciate your time.
Thanks, mate.
Well, let's be honest. Let's just think about one thing for a second, okay? Adam Scott had a 2-shot lead heading into today, right? By the fourth hole, that 2-shot lead was gone. Ultimately, Rory beat him by 5 shots today. He's now down 3. So probably, as we assess, before we hand the trophy to Rory tomorrow, he's going to have to earn it. What does Adam Scott have to do? Todd asked him what can be different. He said rhythm. Did you see anything? The mad scientist, didn't you see anything that he needs to fix?
He also said it was a day of not taking advantage of my good shots. And he didn't birdie the first hole. He hit a nice shot at 6. He didn't birdie 6. He hit a wonderful shot into 8, and he didn't make eagle. But what he did not say is I didn't take advantage of my great shots, because there was a shot today that was, well, reminiscent of last week on Sunday. If you were watching, we talked at length about the shot he hit on Sunday last week out of the fairway bunker. That one was shorter than this. This is 170 yards. 12 last week was over the trees, and he hit it a couple of feet away. And Johnny Miller, I thought very appropriately, pointed out how hard it was to get enough oomph into that shot with his left foot so high. Well, he did get enough oomph into it, and he picked it right off of the turf. And we did talk at length last week about how important it is to be able to hit great fairway bunker shots like that one. And throughout the ages, if you want to say that, some of the best players of all time have been great out of the fairway bunkers. Tom Watson comes to mind, Jack Nicklaus, Eddie Ballesteros, consecutive PGA Tour events. Rory McIlroy, nothing new to him. Of course, Billy Horschel had that tremendous run back in 2014, Ryan.
But it is only Adam Scott that can do that this week, and he will have to win for the 13th time on the PGA Tour, David, and it will have to be the 7th time that he comes from behind to do it. You think about that first hole, it is almost a stroke lost if you don't make birdie, and we saw that today with Rory and Adam. You make par, you lose a stroke, most likely, right out of the gate. When you're down 3, and you, of course, have one of the great come-from-behind wins of all time that we all remember, the mindset when you're coming from behind, what is it right out of the gate?
Well, it's entirely pedal to the metal. You have to get after it, and you have to get after it from the very first tee shot. You know, we talked about Adam Scott's how great he is on par 5s and how great Rory McIlroy is, and we talked about their par actually kind of gets lowered, Brandel, you know. So if you kind of extrapolate from there, 3-shot lead, you think that Rory's teeing off tomorrow with a par of 69.8. That means somebody's might, if he plays well, is going to be looking at having to shoot 66 to catch him if he just goes out and have a normal type day. Not something that would be a problem for Adam Scott if he kind of gets back on the horse like he did yesterday and just plays as beautiful as he did. Today, you know, as much as anything, I would hope for him that he doesn't go out and wear himself out hitting golf balls this evening thinking something was wrong. I think what you heard him say was exactly just the problem, just a little bit off the rhythm. And sometimes as professional golfers, you can get in your head too much, you know, and not chalk it up to just it wasn't my day.
I want to hear more from both of you for sure on the mindset when you're trying to come from behind, because so often I hear both of you talk about how you must be patient to play this game at the highest level, but also go out and try to make birdies and eagles. So more on that. In the meantime, our leader, Rory McIlroy, is addressing the media, so we want to take you there now live. We'll get to Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, and everyone else, but here's Rory meeting the press.
I'm going to say over, let's see, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So the 4 days that I was home after Honda, I probably spent, I don't know, at least 2 hours a day on the putting green. So, you know, 8 hours cumulative before I got down here. So, and I've put the work in, and I've kept putting the work in, and I've found a really nice routine that I go through before every round now. And you see me sort of hole and putts from all around the hole, from 3 feet, 6 feet, 9 feet. And that gives me a nice feel before going out there. So I've probably added an extra 30 minutes to my pre-round routine. And those extra 30 minutes are going all into putting, but I really feel like it's the way forward for me.
2 questions, the second row.
Rory, for you, does more confidence lead to better play, or does better play lead to more confidence?
I'm sort of like the chicken and the egg. Which one? It's a hard one to. I think better play has to lead to more confidence. I don't think you can gain confidence just by. I can gain confidence by hitting good shots on the range and your game feeling really good, but you really have to take it from the range onto the golf course and hit the shots when it matters and hold the putts when it matters, and that's what gives you the confidence. So playing around like I did today, that gives me way more confidence than doing a really good 2-hour practice session on the range. To go out there today when it really matters and do it, that's what gives you confidence.
Rory, as a ramp up to the Masters, how important is it to not only play well here, but be in the position you're in heading into your Augusta preparations?
Yeah, it is. It's important. I always say I want to go into Augusta with at least one win under my belt each year, and I've got a great opportunity to do that this week, and it's always nice to be in contention. I feel like the best way to prepare for golf tournaments is to get yourself into contention and feel, because that's what shows up weaknesses in your game is being under pressure at the critical moments and seeing how it holds up. And for 3 days, my game's held up very well, and we'll go out tomorrow and try to play another solid round, and hopefully that's good enough.
Go to Todd at the back.
Rory, can you give me your general mindset on how you approach the final round with a 54-hole lead, especially here on a dangerous golf course with some big guys trying to reel you in?
I think I just have to set myself a target and try and go for that. I can't think of anyone else. I can't think. It is a challenging golf course, and I have to play smart, of course, but, I need to set myself a target, and I need to take advantage of the holes that I have been taking advantage of throughout the week, the par 5s, some of the shorter par 4s. I'm playing smart on some of the holes where you can get yourself into trouble. So I guess try and set myself a number that I think if I get to that, it's going to be very hard for the other guys to get there, and that's what I'll try and concentrate on.
Sounds like you, Brandel. You've been saying that every week, that you set a number, you go get that number, and you kind of don't worry about anything else when you're in the lead.
And just a minute ago, you quoted the statistics of those with a 3-shot lead. It's 60% win rate. I guarantee you 40% of those players that did not win, or the 40% that did not win, if you were to look at their golf swings early on Sunday, compared it to late on Saturday, there'd be a discernible difference between their transition from backswing to downswing. Transition, rhythm, it matters so much, and it's one of the reasons why Rory has been able to extend leads. His rhythm never changes. It's oily, always oily, and it's beautiful. And I promise you, when people look at the leaderboard, and maybe they're cognizant of those statistics, and maybe they think, well, 3-shot lead can evaporate like that. Certain people get exempt from those sorts of statistics. And you look at a Rory McIlroy and you think he can run away and hide, because if you were watching today what he did around the greens, David, on the greens, and with that rhythm and his history, everybody else that is within a sniff, and you've twice come back from 7 shots, has a formidable task ahead of them.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. It's funny you mentioned the transition. You know how big I am on setting the golf club and having a discernible transition.
Yeah.
And if you paid attention to Rory McIlroy's putting stroke the last couple of days, what did you notice in it? Discernible. It's taken it back. You see, and you can see the change of direction. It wasn't any herky-jerky in it at all. And so really, you heard him talking just now in his press conference, saying that setting a number. Well, the beautiful thing for him tomorrow, the way he hits the golf ball, the way he drives it, the way he's putting, he can really kind of back off in a sense, take advantage of the par 5s. And all of a sudden, that gives him a score of 2 or 3 under par, just like that, and it almost puts it out of reach, because you're looking at a player having to come back from minimum of 3 shots. That would require a 66, 65 to win outright. Very doable by some of these great players, but certainly not something you'd expect day in, day out on a Sunday at the Blue Monster.
Well, This golf course, though, you think of Ricky today had an 8. Phil yesterday, a double that none of us saw coming at 10, which was kind of out of nowhere. I mean, it can.
Absolutely.
It can get you. It can get you.
And Rory had a double on 9.
Yeah, we're talking all things being equal, though. You know, would you expect those kind of things going on right now with Rory? And you really wouldn't. You really wouldn't.
Well, it's going to be interesting on so many levels to watch him handle this 3-shot lead. You think about the way Tiger would handle a lead with the with the 54-hole lead. He was 43 of 45. Now I know there's Tiger and everyone else.
Again. Never.
But we will see how Rory handles it on Sunday. Going to be an interesting day for sure. One of the guys that is in the final group with Rory is the defending champ. That's Dustin Johnson. He certainly could make a statement at the very first hole and actually make up 3 shots on the very first hole. Eagle bogey, it could happen. Why Dustin might be the guy to come back, and Phil Mickelson, oldest guy in the field, 45. What Phil has to do to keep the momentum going in a positive direction next.